accent is called acento grave, also called grave in English. Nowadays, in the Portuguese language, it has a very specific and exclusive use. It's used to indicate a crase. Now, to explain what that is in the simplest terms possible, it's the fusion of two identical vowels. In Portuguese, this occurs between the preposition a and the articles a and as, and it also occurs between the preposition a and other pronouns that start with the same closed a sound. In terms of sound, it's in a way almost identical to the acute accent, as in it opens up the vowel sound, but it doesn't always indicate the stress in the word. But don't panic just yet. As I said, its use is very specific and in some cases in very advanced sentences. So let's look at what those words are specifically. The most basic form you'll see in use is the contraction of the preposition a with the articles a and as. You're going to run into these two words quite frequently as they mean to the or at the. And they are a and as. One key feature of these two words specifically is that they are used in relation to feminine nouns only. For example, amanhã vou à praia. Amanhã vou à praia às 9 horas. So praia is a feminine noun and horas is also a feminine noun but plural in this case. Let's look at some more examples. A Isabel foi às compras. So it's às because compras is feminine and plural. Estou à vontade. Vontade is also a feminine word. That's why we use a. Chegamos à noite. So we also use this contraction a here because noite is a feminine word. You're also going to see this a in expressions that express the idea of in the way of. And in Portuguese that is à modo de or à maneira de, without actually saying all that in the sentence. In English, for example, you may know this as à la, like in chicken à la king or à la carte, etc. So when you see things like bacalhau à brás in Portuguese menus, you now will know that this will mean codfish à la brás or brás style codfish. So we're just omitting the whole sentence, which should be something like cod done in the way of brás, bacalhau à moda de brás. So we just shorten it to bacalhau à brás. Now let's look at some contractions with other pronouns that start with a. And remember, just as with a and as, these are only used when the sentence asks for the preposition a. I would also argue that the following examples are more for an intermediate level speaker because you'll start using them when you're expressing more complex ideas. So you need to have a good grasp of prepositions and adverbial expressions by the time you're using these. So let's just see what I'm on about. Aquilo. Aquilo. So in terms of pronunciation, the grave is opening up the vowel sound of a to a, but it's actually not indicating the stress here. The word is still stressed on the I. Aquilo. Aquilo, on its own, means that, in the sense of that over there, or that which is far in distance or time. And the grave accent here is just adding the meaning of to or at. So looking at an example of this in use would be something like isto é igual àquilo. So in Portuguese, in a sentence like this, we need to say this is the same as to that. You may also see or hear this crase with the gendered versions of aquilo. So for example, aquele, aquela, aqueles, and aquelas. All these mean the same thing, to that, one or ones, over there or far away. Which gendered one you will need will be determined by the gender of the noun in that particular sentence. So I'll give you some examples. Vou dar o casaco àquela senhora. So we're using the feminine aquela, contracted with a, the preposition, because senhora is feminine. So what we're actually saying is I'm giving the coat to that lady that's over there or far away. Vou dar o pão àquele senhor ali. So this one is masculine, the aquele, because senhor is masculine. I'm going to give the bread to that man over there. Then, of course, you also have the plural versions of these two, aqueles and aquelas, used in the exact same way and mean to those ones over there or far away in distance or time. Some examples. Vou dar os gelados àqueles meninos. So it's the masculine plural because meninos is masculine and plural. I'm going to give the ice cream to those kids that are over there. Vou dar os papéis àquelas pessoas ali. This one's feminine and plural because the word pessoas is feminine and plural. I'm going to give the papers to those people over there. Now the next set of words that can have a crase in them are used in even more advanced sentences because the base word itself is already a fusion or contraction between two words, and those are the words aquele and outro, which fuse into aquele outro. But because this word has a complex meaning in and of itself, I'm just going to tell you what they look like with the grave and save some examples of its use for an advanced Portuguese lesson in the future. I will also say that the actual use of these words in day-to-day conversation is not rare, but it is infrequent. So let's look at what the words look like with the crases. Aquele outro, aquele outra, aquele outros, and aquele outras. This is video 6 of the August Challenge, and my name is Adelina from the Sounds of Portuguese. Tomorrow we're reviewing the circumflex accent, so stay tuned for that. If you'd like more info on the challenge, please check the link in the description box below, and don't forget to like this video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Obrigada.